Dollars and Cents segment. Joining me now with kind of put this Greece financial situation in perspective and how it relates to us, Steve Darden with Williams Financial Advisors, LLC. Steve, good to see you. Happy Fat Tuesday to you, sir.
Right to you.
All right, let's start with how can an entire country be at the brink of, I guess, bankruptcy like this?
Yeah, you know, Doug, it's really not that much different than your household or your company or whatever you have.
You've been looking at my checkbook.
Yeah, well, there's a point in time where, you know, expenses and income they got to balance sooner or later. And Greece is, they're literally a socialist country, okay? And that term gets thrown around a lot loosely, but the party in power in Greece actually calls itself a socialist party. So they've got massive entitlement programs, they've got expenses that are absolutely out of control, and that's a lot of what this meeting this week's going to be about. Is the European Union members are going to put a lot of pressure on Greece to get their spending under control to garner long-term support.
Now, they were kind of hiding this debt problem, and why?
Well, basically, they don't want the rest of the European Union, or didn't want them to realize that the problem was as big as it was. You know, it's one of those where if the default swaps, if everything works out fine, well, the income is up enough to cover those expenses. But like with any investment, if you're really counting on that and you're betting on the come that you're going to make more money than is reasonable in an investment like that, and you spend along those lines, you know, you can get in a bind.
All right, here's how it really gets to us here, even in the U.S. The story just came down the Associated Press minutes ago. Markets have been dragged down in recent weeks because of concerns that mounting debt in Greece would spread and squash a global economic recovery. That one's a small country and that one problem would have that far-reaching effect?
Potentially. You know, I think those kinds of headlines get blown out of proportion, but it could be the beginning of what's termed a systemic problem, meaning there are other countries in Europe that are pretty on shaky ground right now. Spain's on shaky ground, Portugal, Italy, Ireland. To the extent that they're holding Greece's debt and Greece defaults on the debt, then it really just becomes a snowball effect, and the dominoes start to fall, and the next country has a problem, and the next country has a problem, and it can become a systemic problem.
Are we one of those next countries? The president just lifting the cap on government borrowing to $14.3 trillion.
Yeah, I mean...
we're trying to save us from going into default, so to speak.
Yeah, we're so far away from a default situation. The United States has just got much more financial clout than that. But yeah, eventually, like I said at the beginning, it's just like your home or your company or anything else. There's a point in time where you can only run huge deficits for so long. And the United States, yeah, we're on a path to where we could get into trouble like that at some point in time.
Just a couple seconds here. How does that affect me or the camera operator, or anyone that wants to come in and say, hey, I want to get involved in the stocks?
Well, to the extent that you're involved in investments, you know, anything that happens around the globe, I mean, it really is a global economy these days. Yeah. So issues in Europe or issues in China or issues anywhere else on the planet affect investments right here at home.
All right. Steve, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
It's amazing how some small little country can
still... It's incredible.
It affects the minds of Wall Street. All right, thank you, sir. It is...